Thank you for doing that. Well, okay, so remember last week we talked about the development piece of our children because I thought that was going to be a good base for leaping into other areas. And so this week we're going to talk more about the temperament of our children. Have you guys studied or learned about temperament very much before? Not too much? Okay, well, development has to do more with like when they'll learn to walk, because that's just how our bodies work. But temperament has to do more with how they learn to walk. So that's kind of interesting to think about. And the more we know about temperament, the more successful our interactions with our children can be, because we're going to just be able to get what they're trying to express to us easier. And so some points to remember about temperament is that it's an inborn thing. We're hardwired how we are. We can change it a little bit and tweak it a little bit according with our environment, and different things that happen to us can change some things about us, but not too much. And then temperament is not our personality, and temperament is not our ability. So it's more to do with how sensitive we are to our environment and things like that. Did any of you happen to notice that question hanging above the craft table today?
I did, yeah.
Yay! Okay, so it talked about, I asked you to try to think about how your child or your children interact with their environment, like the lights, if they're sensitive to the lights, or the sounds, or the smells. Textures even affect us. And then the other question on the other side, I had two different questions. The other one was, how do your children interact with new activities or new people? So I'll just give you a second to think about that, because you maybe haven't had time to do that. And I think it's good to even, I mean, you can compare yourself to how those things affect you. Is anyone affected by, like, fluorescent lights, for instance? Mm-hmm. How does it affect you?
It just wears on you a little bit, but I don't know if shopping wears on me now, or if it's the, like when you go shopping all day long, you just feel kind of drained in your eyes. And
I agree, yeah. You do.
it never really affected me.
Do you ever notice when you go in a store that has really loud music? Does that give anybody else any anxiety? To me, I just can't think. I just
Even at home, sometimes. I mean, if there's TV going and people are trying to communicate, and I know my temperament goes just,
you just get like
It's too much to manage.
yeah. So I think that if it plays a role in us, it has to feed off of our children.
And are some people not at all bothered by crowds? And then other people are really bothered by crowds?
My husband is ridiculous. He will not go into Walmart ever.
Oh, really?
Ever, just because it's so many people. But he could go to like a banquet of some sort and be fine. It's just in department stores that he can't handle it.
But it's a different environment,
much
because at
going
a
on.
banquet you're just sitting there and interacting with these people.
Right. Where
Probably.
Yeah. It's
And at a
crazy
store
how
when you
that
have to
affects
manipulate.
people.
Like at shopping at Thanksgiving time.
Oh, right.
And some people, it doesn't bother them at all, and so it depends on the person. So for your children, when you think about them, have you noticed before, and you maybe haven't realized what's causing it, but maybe like if you're at a Christmas gathering with a whole bunch of people and your kids just get crabby really fast, that could just be part of how they manage crowds. So that's just something to think about. Anybody else want to share anything about their children that you've noticed before?
Vanessa smells.
Really?
Very sensitive to smells.
Ah.
Yeah.
Any smells
Any
at all?
smell, anything that's out of the ordinary, anything, I mean, she'll let you know it, and she'll cup her nose until she's out of it or gone.
Oh, funny. Is she a good eater?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
I have some relatives that are, adults, and there's like, they can smell their food, and, well, he's not even a relative, it's one of my uncles, but they're divorced now, but he was very goofy about,
even with
like, he would go around and smell everything before he would eat it. My mom was paranoid all the time about cooking stuff, but I thought, well, maybe that plays
it's
a
not
role in,
that
like,
extreme,
your
but
taste.
eggs, like she can't stand the smell of eggs, and that's, but other than, that's the only food I've noticed, but other things, anywhere else we are, that there's any kind of odd smell, she won't like it. Yeah.
It's maybe good that you don't live on a farm.
Yeah. Oh, she wouldn't like that at all. You drive by one or, she was, she didn't like cows for a long time because of the smell.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. So smell and crowds and anything else that you can think of. How about clothing? Any kids? You know, some kids are really bothered by tags, and now a lot of clothes don't have the tags, thankfully, but that can be, or elastic waist versus jeans. Some have a preference, so maybe you haven't noticed it because you didn't know about it. But some kids just don't like the scratchiness of certain materials. So.
Holly would wear jeans until now.
Oh, really? So she was affected by
She
that.
was Vanessa. She just wanted soft pants all the time.
She said they were too tight. She'd squat down and then, you know, because they, you know, when you squat down, they come down with your knee.
Yep.
Instead of, you know, so then I tried to teach her to pull her, old pants up.
Sure.
But now she finally,
I mean, still.
now she'll wear them, but she's not crazy about them.
She's
So.
gotten over it a little bit.
Yeah, but the tags, they had to cut the tags out of everything
Oh, really?
on her clothes.
Did she tell you the tag
Yeah.
bothered her?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she, tag. And when she,
Yeah.
that was like before she could talk, tag, tag. Just
So
to-
she's
it
very
would drive
sensitive.
her crazy until I cut it out. You know?
Oh, wow.
It's funny at the UCFB garage sale I was
Uh-huh.
shopping and one of the ladies stuff had no tags.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, it must be.
You could relate, huh?
We had, Abe was one, and Annie for a while, the silkiness of, I mean, they would have their hand back in there, and, cause Abe always,
What do you like to do
like
with
those
it?
taggy blankets or the
Yeah, Holly
ribbon.
likes her tag on her blankie.
And he would, when he was tired, he would dig out
No.
this tag, or sometimes they're down here, and he'd be digging up, he knew where the tags were on each shirt. But he was, when he was a thumb sucker, he is our touchy still,
Okay.
at 8. I mean, he is the one that wants to be close and touch, whatever that
So
sounds
he likes
like.
textures.
But that was a comforting thing,
Yeah.
tag in our,
So that was a good thing for them.
that was a good thing.
Good.
Annie outgrew it, but they
So
both.
it can be very different for different people too. That's something to remember. Okay, so now I'm going to, I have some information, and this information is also on a handout that I'm going to give you. But instead of me telling you lots of things about the temperament, I was hoping that we could just take turns reading some of the different paragraphs, and it's nothing very long. But there might be a couple of repeats in there, and that's okay. We'll just read it again, and you can just add a comment to it. So I'll let you read it first, and then I'll ask you to read it out loud. And if you don't want to read out loud, that's fine. I'll just read it. I'll just say what it says instead. Thanks. She's gonna read it. Okay. Do you want to start? Yeah.
Yes, traits bring out different reactions. A trait can be seen differently by different people. For example, high activity level may seem energetic, positive, or hyper may be negative. Low activity level may seem calm and restful, or lazy and lethargic. Yeah. Especially when you don't know the child very well, I think you can put a name on them. I mean, you know, they seem calm or.
And then depending on where you're at.
Right, yeah. So, in my own kids, you know, I mean, they all have different traits, I guess. But yeah, it's in different settings too, and environment. It all revolves, I mean, like, who they're interacting with, or
Yeah.
if they're by themselves, or
Sure.
one-on-one. So,
When we understand that children come hardwired to behave in certain ways, we can be less judgmental and more understanding of them. Our parenting can be fine-tuned to help the individual child learn the skills he or she needs to be successful with his or her inborn temperament.
Sounds a lot, right?
It says a lot.
Yeah. Okay, and so the only 2 sentences, but it's full of information. So, like we said, they come hardwired to behave a certain way. And if we can try to be not real judgmental about them, that helps. And then learning about the different temperament traits, because it's divided into 10 different things, and we'll do that next. But that'll help us. And the thing to remember too about temperament is that we don't cause them typically to react a certain way. They're just made that way. And so if we can learn that